Time has gone 14 minutes after 6 o'clock. It's a very good evening to you. Welcome to our broadcast brought to you courtesy of Government Communication and Information System, the GCIS, alongside the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, and not forgetting one of our partners as well, that's the National Prosecuting Authority. Mina Poka, Kikarabolans, Okai Pucha or Lance Joakai, Kitawocha Karayona, Waseweka. I know a lot of people are asking me that question all the time, but don't worry about it. That's not what we're here for, by the way. We're here to talk about some of the most important issues. We've been talking about them for the past 14 weeks. This is our 15th episode, and we're still going strong, and listeners are still loving this program, and we're getting a lot of feedback from Facebook as well, a lot of feedback from YouTube. Some of the videos that we've done in the past are available on YouTube, and thank you so much to our video department for the stunning work that they're doing. We're going to be talking about an issue that's got to deal with bail. Yeah, I said it. Bail. B-A-I-L. Bail. So, yeah, funny bail, that type of thing. That's what we're going to be talking about this evening. And joining us to bring us up to speed with regards to that is Advocate Mandla Hlatshwayo, and he's coming from the National Prosecuting Authority. Advocate Hlatshwayo, good evening to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you, Karabo. Good evening, and good evening to the listeners.
So there we go. If you want to talk to us this evening, 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446, Facebook, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, Twitter, DOJCD_ZA, DOJCD_ZA. Remember that 0800 number is a toll-free number if you're going to be calling from a landline. Otherwise, if you're calling from a cell phone, please call us and we'll call you back, take your numbers down and call you back, in that way cutting down on costs. Okay, enough with the blah, 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 blah. Let's get into things now. We're talking about bail. Advocate Hlatshwayo. Okay. Again, the basics. What is bail?
Okay. Bail is a sum of money that is paid to the court or to the police station if a person is arrested. Once a person has committed an offense, he gets arrested, he would be detained. So in order for that person to be released, he'll have to pay bail. But it's not always the case that he must pay bail. Mm-hmm. There are some situations where, depending on the type of the offense that the person has committed, there are some offenses where a person can just be released on warning. In other words, the police can just tell him. That's what our community normally call they call it free bail.
Right.
That's warning. But bail, in short, bail is the sum of money that is paid in order for a person who is arrested to be released, paid to the police station or to the court.
Somebody might be asking, but I mean, what is the purpose of me paying bail?
Yeah. Bail is actually to assure the court that you will come back. It's, in other words, it's just money that you pay as security, if I may use that word, to say, I will come back, please release me. So if you don't come back, your bail money is taken. It's taken to the court. In other words, it's forfeited to the state, and a warrant of your arrest will be issued for you to be traced by the police and be arrested and brought back to court.
Wow. So basically you're convincing the court that I'm an Nzobenkona.
Yes.
You know, when you need me on the 17th,
Nzobenkona. Exactly.
But now, hang on. Yeah. What if my bail is about $10? And I mean, I know I can afford that.
$10 as in 10,000.
Well, I'm just giving an example. It
depends. It depends on the type of offense and the seriousness of the offense, and also the strength of the state case. How strong is the case? And then you will decide how much bail to be fixed. It's not a matter of a uniform. In other words, if you've committed theft, you're going to get bail of 500 rand. No, it depends on the type of theft, on the seriousness of the offense that you have committed, the value of the items that have been stolen. It depends on all of that, yes.
Does it also depend upon your earnings as well, or who you are, your background, so forth?
Not necessarily on who you are. Yes, the court does take your personal circumstances into account in determining bail, and also the court must also take into account that it should not fix bail that you won't be able to afford, because that would amount to refusal of bail. Right. So yes, depending on the income that you have, you'll indicate I have so much income, and then the court will balance the two, the type of offense that you have committed and the amount that you can afford also.
All right. So now, are there any documentation that would be needed for the accused to have to provide to the court in order for the court to evaluate gay, so that they don't set the bail either lower or higher, but
Not necessarily. There are no documents that you'll have to produce if you are a South African citizen. As long as the police are satisfied that you are a South African citizen, it's not necessary that you have to produce documents. But what we need in order for us to be sure that you would come back is that you must have an address. In other words, a fixed address. You should not be regarded as somebody who is a flight risk, because if you don't have a fixed address, we wouldn't know where to find you. So it's a bit difficult for us to say you can get bail. But if you are not a South African citizen, you are still entitled to be released on bail if you are, in other words, if you have the necessary documentation. In other words, if you've got your passport, and one of the conditions of bail could be that you must hand in your passport to the investigating officer, you must report to the police station, and maybe you must not leave the jurisdiction of that particular court without the permission of the investigating officer and all of that.
So there are terms and conditions that are being put in place.
There are terms and conditions that are put, yes.
Awesome. 20 after 6, 0800 142 446. I'm not going to waste any time. I think let's jump quickly into callers as it is. Let's go to Senegal and one of the people that must be given awards really for phoning in on our programs. He's a regular listener, this one. Mutlatupa.
re teng ntate
ke thabela utlwa ho wena
ke thabile ntate le ke ne ke botsa hore na ke ho baneng ha ho patadiswa mohlomong batho ba sa sebetseng dile ke potena ke botsa tsena ba le ka bona neng ke le lekgotleng ya dinyo mohlomong ke a motho mong a patadiswa 50 rand ka ho tsitse a be ke batho bana ba jampo ti jumping site le hore na theletse ya daily ya ho kae e kae ya bua ke kamamela na le DFM ka
Kelawon Dade Mutlatupa for being a regular listener and for calling in this evening. I really appreciate it. Gaboreko utswal Phalale, all the way north, close to the power station ya rena e re fang motlakase. Gaboreko le kae na re teng putswa wa reng
potso wa ka ebile ke batla ho leboha karabo ke mametse this show mo 87.8 local FNR Phalale. Then potso wa ka ke go na le selo se ba reng ke letter of authority ne letter of authority ke ile ka ba le problem ya gore burua ka o ile a tlhokofala ka 2004. Then I find out gore o na le tšhelete kai ko need farm provident fund and all those things. Then I go there, they told me that no, we need letter of authority. Then what? I go to the court need a original death certificate of my brother. Then I go to Home Affairs to fetch that certificate. Then after all, I go back again to court at our area around Phalale. Then they help me with this letter of authority. Then I've been claiming my brother's money. Then after all, they told me that I must go to make an estate activated at SARS. Then when I'm at SARS, I'm asking the form called IP77. Then I fill up those estates. Then I give the SARS. Then they need the estate, the letter of authority. Then I give them. Then now I'm waiting for the money. The money is on the way. Then my problem is, then I come. Then I give the other people the advice that no, how to claim that money. When they need the letter of authority, you must go to the magistrate. Then those people in Senegal, they go to magistrate 5 times. At magistrate, Baba Bolella Hore, Tamaya Leobata, they go there with transport, Baba Tamamola banking. Never saw no one happen. Baba Bolella or no, Tamaya Natalium, Qua Isco, Quamutila Vercati. then abakaya kwa hape hantse ba ba busa hape ana batho ba ha ba kgone go claima tšhelete ya bona ka baka la gore ha ba kgone go kry-a letter of authority.
All right.
They've got everything. Then because I want to take them to court tomorrow. Why other people banally on?
All right. Thank you so much. Your question is actually outside the scope of what we're talking about this evening. We're talking about issues steady bail, but I'm not just going to discard you like that. I know it's a question that the department can help you with. I'm going to take your details down. Producers will take your details down, and we'll get somebody to call you who can assist you on that regard. This evening we're talking about bail issues, but don't sweat about it. Somebody will definitely give you a call. 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. Now we're talking about the period in which one can apply for bail. One would like to find out when exactly can the accused start the process, the bail application.
Yeah. When an accused person is arrested and is brought to court, because the law says he should be brought to court within 48 hours after he has been arrested.
Okay.
So on the first day when he appears to court, the court is going to explain the accused's rights, including the right to apply for bail if he wants to. But that would be in a situation where the state, in other words, the prosecutor, is opposing that the accused be released on bail. Then the court will inform him, you have a right to apply for bail. Once the accused has indicated his intention to apply for bail, that bail hearing must be heard within 7 days. That's what the law says. Within 7 days, the accused must, in other words, the bail issue must be discussed within that period.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If there are problems and it cannot be heard in the 7 days, are there measures in place to make sure we get an extension and so forth? And
yes, due to our high court role, it is possible that bail may not be heard within 7 days. But what will happen, the court will give a postponement to a particular day. But the court will try to be reasonable, not to postpone the case, for an example, for a month for bail application, because bail is actually an urgent issue. It's something that has to be dealt with as soon as possible. Because remember, when a person is arrested, it does not necessarily mean that that person is guilty of that offense. Our Constitution, our Criminal Procedure Act says that person is presumed innocent until he's proven guilty. Yeah. So as long as the person has not been found guilty, we cannot, bail is not there to actually punish that person for committing an offense, but bail is there just to ensure that the person comes back to court on the date on which the court will postpone the case to.
All right.
Yes.
Take one more caller, 0800 142 446. We're chatting to Gift. Gift is calling all the way from Mantata and listening to Muhudi FM. Gift?
Hi, Sarah.
Legae.
Rona
puchal na ring.
Puchal na ko tawar malaki. Eda se tikile se ti daily. Una le kam fere eba refundable ka gona wa tshele daily.
Ke go puchela ga paske grene.
Bail money, is it refundable? Over right, if it is bail anywhere 10,000 rent,
It's a very interesting question, that one. Just in case you're not found guilty, what happens with that? Thank you so much, Gift. We'll definitely answer your question. 0800 142 446. That's 0800 142 446. Hello, mhlomongwe okanyo bolela naka polelo ya ka leleme la Sesotho. Any of the Sesotho languages, you're more than welcome to do that. Mafuna ukukhuluma ngathi ngesizulu, mhlawumbe ngeSwati. You can do that as well. Any of the Nguni languages are welcome. So get onto your phone, 0800 142 446. Facebook, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Twitter, DOJCD_ZA. DOJCD_ZA for the people listening via Twitter. That's the question from Gift. Yeah. So, bail money. Ask no way lefela. For instance, that's why you're not found guilty.
Yeah.
You've been cleared. You're free to go. What happened to the bail money that are paid?
Let's start here. Bail money is refundable, whether you're found guilty or not guilty. Bail money, it's not a fine.
Right.
Like I said when I started, I said bail money is a sum of money that you put in order to assure the court that you will attend the proceedings. So whether you are guilty or not guilty, in other words, whether the court convicts you or not, you will get your bail money back. Yes, there are situations where you find that your bail money is forfeited to the state. That is if you do not come back to court. If you don't come back to court on that particular day, what the prosecutor will do will indicate to the court and say, Your Worship, the accused is not in court today. He was warned by this court and his bail was extended until today. He's not here. Then in terms of Section 67 of the Criminal Procedure Act, the prosecutor is going to bring an application that the bail money be provisionally forfeited. So what happens is the bail money will be cancelled, the bail will be cancelled, and then bail money be forfeited to the state. Then the case will be postponed for 14 days, waiting for the person to come. If the accused does not come within 14 days to court, then the bail money is going to be finally forfeited to the state.
Also, in the 14 days, if he does come back,
then
we reverse that process.
Not necessarily. If he does come back, the court still has to inquire from him, where were you? Why didn't you come to court on the day on which I told you to come?
When goal?
If he was gula, it's not a problem. If he gula, he produces a medical certificate. If the court accepts that, then the court would say, I accept your explanation. Okay. Then I cancel the warrant. I reinstate your bail money.
So it's not like Bakfake Konin, really. Life happens. And you could come with a valid explanation, and the court is willing to hear that. Oh, we're glad to hear that. So next time, 0800 142 446, 0800 142 446. Let's go to Inanda. Tolagele from Inanda. Siyaphila kunjani sisami?
Siyaphila.
Awuzwe umbuzo wakho uthini?
Ngifuna ukubuza la ngize lapho nikhuluma nokuthi mawukade une-tenant bayakwazi ukusiza. So if mhlambe kuwukuthi ushodelwe umyeni wakho kade esenondlala nge-tenant bese yashona kade sebenza, ikuphi abakwazi ukusiza?
Akho uphinde futhi lo mbuzo wakho angawutholi kahle.
Ngithi mina in case mhlambe kade unomkhwena wakho so ekondlele enkantolo.
Yeah.
If ekondlele enkantolo bese yashona. Ikuphi mhlambe abangakusiza ngakho uthi uye emsebenzini wakhe then bethi ngoba kade sondle enkantolo ayikho into abangayikhuluma.
All right. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Right.
Ake ngibuze la sisi. Mawuthi umyeni nihlala naye nishadile.
No, bekade nje ekhokhile nje siloboleni ingoduso yakhe.
Oh, uyingoduso yakhe. So ubekondla ecourt, mawuhlala naye ubengondle la ekhaya wagcina umyise court, icourt yakhipha order yokuthi akondle.
Yebo, sasihlala naye so kwase kuba khona lo ngqabanyane phakathi ngase sasesiyase.
Okay, useshonile manje.
Yes.
Yeah, into eyenzakalayo le order le maintenance vele obviously ifana ne order intanzo thini nomshado umuntu mayesoshonile kuyaphela ngithi ne order ye maintenance nayo iyaphela. Kodwa ke uma ngabe ene estate enough ungakhona ukuthi uyofaka iclaim against the estate yakhe.
Yeah.
Uthi imali ama assets anawo yena ungakhona ukukwenza lokho.
Ngoba ube umuntu obesenza kahle vele esebenza lentuzeni esebenza kametro.
I-maintenance le ekaba yakho le ingane.
Ingane.
Yeah. Kodwa ke ingane phela vele automatically zingama beneficiaries la. Into ezokwenzeka uma ngabe sekashonile kuyahanja kuyotholakala ngithi death certificate mangabe bene will, then in terms of i-will kuzo distributor into zakhe lezi nemali zakhe ukuthi kufanele zibe yikuphi. Uma ngabe benganayo i-will vele in terms of intestate succession imali zakhe zizokuya kunkosikazi wakhe kubantwana bakhe. So kuleyo situation angiboni kuyinkinga, ngicabanga ukuthi nasemsebenzini ingane uzibhalisile. So njengoba wona uthi ingoduso yakhe ukuthi angitholi kahle ukuthi anihlali nonke anikakashadi.
No.
So akakabi umshado ngoba phela na umshado wesintu sisi umshado mangabe elobolile, let me not say even elobolile because i recognition of customary marriages act ayidingi nokudinga ukuthi kube nokulobola. All that it needs ukuthi kufanele ube nama negotiations and after my negotiations kube ne celebration. Ngaba nje into ukuthi kukhulunywe emva kwaloko sekwenziwa mhlambe umcimbi othizo ukuthi wena amagodu usumikiswa kubo kwamkhwenyana. So uma sekunjalo so umshado ngesintu lo and uyafana nawo lo wesilungu. Mangabe nani nenza kanjalo then wena unkosikazi wakhe. And into ebalulekile mhlambe kubantu bakithi ukuthi nifanele ukuthi ni register lo mshado ngoba mase kushoniwe you know ama in-laws kanjani kuba nama problems sekuyaliwa awusana proof sebayakuphika bathi ubukade uyintombi ubungayona unkosikazi. So njengakule simo sakho ngoba uthi ubuyingodiso kusho ukuthi kusese nama negotiations kuphela akuzange kwaba khona celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, so agagabike umshado lo, even in terms of recognition of Customary Marriages Act. So into ezofanele yenzeke la ukuthi wena as umama le ingane ngicabanga ukuthi seseyingane le ingane.
Yeah,
As a guardian, we guardian yazo wena. So on behalf of le ingane lezi. Yeah, on behalf of them le ingane lezi when uclaimele le ingane ama benefits wabo because bangama beneficiaries kumyeni wakho lo.
Angithi ayizo sisi.
Usakhona sisi?
Mamfake ebondeni. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on, but I hope she's heard. I mean, and I'm happy that you touched on that. I know we deviated a little bit. I mean, we're talking about bail issues, but no. Thank you so much that you're doing that. In fact, if it does happen again, I'm gonna be fage futhi yeah, you know, you see, this is service delivery at its best. Yeah, there we go. We're going to Jobetina, and my producer wants me to say it in that way. Jobetina in Northwest, and we chatted to Charles Motaung. Bra Charles.
Yes, boss.
Or go with the Brachali?
No, Charles is okay.
Etara Bra Charles. Question now, bro.
Me bra, like, if Moto Afua Bailey, ne?
Yeah.
If Moto is not a South African, ne? So whom quite step the fame before Afua Bailey, because someone that 2010 it was someone from Bangladesh, ne? This guy then Utote Bailey, then after that go to Usile, then till now so how not do it in case. So the Kopotuma fellow now quite step the film before Moto Afua Bailey if Moto has a Moto South Africa. Thank you.
Charles, thank you so much for your bravery as well. There's not a lot of people that can call on the radio and say what you've just said. Thank you so much for having done that, and thank you so much for listening in. We'll definitely tackle your question. All right, that's the foreign nationals steps to grant them bail. Are they different to those to the South African citizens?
Yeah, of course they will be different. Like I said when we started, when you asked about documentation that needs to be produced for one to qualify for bail, I indicated that as South African citizens we don't have to produce any documents as long as the investigating officer is happy, it's checked with the Home Affairs and satisfied himself that you are a South African. You don't have to produce anything. But with foreign nationals, of course, they need to, like I indicated, we also try to put in some conditions in order to monitor them. What we would do, they'll have to hand in their travel documents,
right?
Passports, yes, whatever travel documents they have, they'll have to hand them in. And then, in order to ensure that we monitor them, like I've said, the police monitor them, there would be even conditions to say they have to report. Maybe a person will have to report once or twice or thrice a week. Physically to the investigating officer at the police station. He signs there up until the case is finalized. Yeah. So with regard to Upu Charles' issue, I don't know what happened. Maybe this person share this passport to the investigating officer. But then it would mean even our immigration officers there's some issues then, because how does a person leave the country without the necessary documentation? So I don't know, maybe you need to take it up, Mr. Charles, with Home Affairs and maybe the commander of the police officer who is investigating the case, find out whether the passport of this person was confiscated and whether the court was told that this person is not a South African, because it might happen that it was not even brought to the attention of the court that he's not a South African citizen and therefore his passport was not confiscated by the court.
Let's say, hypothetically speaking, you know, can they be traced back, you know?
It will depend with the country that he has gone to. Do we have an agreement with them? In other words, this repatriation agreement, maybe to bring the person back to South Africa. Do we have such an agreement with that country? If we do, depending on the type of offense that the person has committed, and here he says it's rape, so it's a very serious offense. These are types of offenses that do not prescribe, that do not expire even after 20 years. That's why you had about Mr. Hewitt in Johannesburg, what's that called, in Palmbridge Court. They were convicted of cases that were committed about 20 years, 30 years ago, you know. So it can be brought to the attention of the prosecutor, and then the prosecutor will have to take it up with the chief prosecutor, who will take it up with the director of public prosecutions. Eventually it will land on the table of the national director of public prosecutions. Then it would be discussed there, and a decision would be made whether an application should be made that the person be brought back to the country, or not. Yes.
How about I get into a plane myself? So banana must figure code. 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. Postmansburg. Tabiso's listening there. Good evening to you, Tabiso. Etabror. Mocha. Wabana Toma guy Taprura relax. I know we will talk. Pratabs.
If you go court on a magistrata on Bonamolatune and children come for 1,005, and after that 1,005, now we more right. Namusitu Anikanushi, I'm not a 41.5 charge. I afford 700 or 500. I want charge them for bail. I can afford it. It is possible for Naki Kupero or Kebata Bail Bokai. Put your in wiki. I had to try Fanta, honey. Obokudira khala gore no be se nna motho a duo tse wa ke chargewa for bail a ke boela ke tšhelete ka trege or ke boela ke bedrag e rileng fela ka puo.
Thank you so much, Pratabs.
Thank you, bro.
All right, let's go to Mulechi. Mulechi matlo le kana rona khopela ro phules kagu
awa ke mo Mulechi FM ya be ke nya go tseba hore na gore ni di bail tse o ga re dia fapana dia arrange ka di gore go fumana ba tswa ile gore mothoki ke motho ile gore ke celebrity wa utumile ba ba bail ya o fitla ka million ya rand mo la wa go ba ka khumana bail ya 500 rand o tla yo ngo di bail di fapana yona
kela wa gere matlo.
Thank you.
Also again, we'll go back to some other questions. I haven't forgotten about them. I've listed them here, but I would like to work my way backwards. Let's start with Matlo. Really, he says these bail prices, for lack of a better word, they range, especially when you're a celebrity.
Okay.
Yeah, all of lebo my producer here, Bolin, that's all. Million, and then whole stone. They just
well, like I said when we started, bail issues are determined and the court takes into account your personal circumstances. So it's not necessarily that people who are celebrities, they get higher bail amount and all of that. No, it depends on the offense the person has committed and how much he can afford. Because remember, the higher the amount that you stand to lose, the more motivated you would be to attend the court. So the issue of celebrities being granted a higher bail amount, it will look at the nature of the offense that they have committed. That is what is important. And the affordability. You cannot take somebody who earns, let's say, 20,000 rand a month and a person who earns 1,500 a month and say, okay, I'm going to fix bail in the amount of 5,000 for both of you. So the one who earns 20,000 a month, it would be easier for him. So we cannot have a fixed rule to say bail for this offense, it's so much. That is why the court has to take into account that particular person's personal circumstances.
Right.
So that those circumstances are the ones that are going to give the court a direction as to how much bail to fix, and also the nature and the seriousness of the offense that the person has committed.
But I guess the more prevalent one will be the one, are they able to flee? That one really is a serious one because whether a person can afford or cannot, are they people that can flee, basically?
Yeah, you see, a bail, it's something very difficult even for the court, because the court must foresee the future to say, for now that you are here, can I trust you that in the next 2-3 months, depending on how long the case is going to take, will you still be attending the court? So with celebrities, of course, I'm not saying they should be treated differently, but they've got traveling documents, they've got the money, so possibilities of them fleeing. Because most of the offenses that you find that people have committed are serious offenses. Your rape, your murder, those are cases that at times, in certain circumstances, carry a sentence of life imprisonment. So the court must also take that into account. Like I said, the amount that the court fixes is an amount that the court should say it will be motivating enough for you to say, I can't lose that amount. You must come to court.
Okay. Yeah. Having said that,
yes.
Tabiso Are, what if Yenawita found guilty, and we've just learned it's not a matter of guilt or not.
Yes.
But nonetheless, Tabiso says if bail is being set at 1,500 rand, Tabiso for some reason raises his hand. Fortunately, he does not say objection, Your Honor. Okay, but maybe through legal representation. Please, look, 1,500 rand is a bit too much for me. Can one say, look, that's a bit too much for me? Nanga for tabakana. Is it something that's
it does happen. You know what happens is you come to court for this particular offense. The prosecutor reads through the docket. He says, okay, I have no reasons why I should oppose bail here, so I am going to suggest bail in court. The prosecutor stands up in court and he tells the court, I've got no objection if the accused is released on bail. The state suggests an amount of 1,500 rand bail. Now the court says, okay, let's look at the circumstances of the accused. Are you employed? Where do you stay? Where are you employed? How much do you earn? Let's say the accused says, I'm earning about 300 rand a week, which is about 1,200 a month, if I'm not mistaken. Now the court would say 1,500, it's too much. Of course, the court must balance the seriousness of the offense and the personal circumstances of the accused. As I've said when I started to say, the court should not fix an amount that the accused cannot afford, because that amounts to denying bail. And that is not what the court is there for. The court is there to see to it that the seriousness of the offense, yes, the person is presumed innocent, of course, but the court cannot lose sight that the person has committed a serious offense. So the bail that the court will fix will be taken into account, also the personal circumstances of the accused. It might be possible that if the accused says, I've got 700 rand, the court says then 700 rand, it's fine. The court fixes that 700 rand. But I'm not saying the court will listen, in other words, will take everything that the accused is saying. The court will take that into account, balance that to the offense that has been committed, and come to a conclusion. Maybe the court would say, 1,500 it's too much, but then 700 is too little. I'm going to fix 1,000 rand.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We definitely going to answer it. But let me take two additional callers. 0800 142 446. Twitter, DOJCD_ZA. Facebook, the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Samona, get ready. Marana, Kemararang from Uppington. I suppose.
Yeah, Mararanga from Uppington.
Mararanga from Uppington. We used to have a listener from Uppington called Mararang. No, not. Oh, okay. I beg your pardon. I'm being corrected. You see, my producers are sharp, you see. All right, Mararanga, your question, please.
Ke batla go botsa gore fa motho a reipile e nna gore khanya bail application e tsamaya jang ka gore ke bua jana go na le motho o tlotsa tlhageletse ko Appington Magistrate Court ka kgetsi ya rape sala a reipile ka May 21 tsa May 2014 o mo ntuli fitshwana go tla go tsena go jana batho bongwe ba ka ba tse ko khotla ba beitla ba gololwa ka bail jano ke sa itse gore bail application e dirwa jang ka tsela ntse jalo because ke motho a 31 years o reipile ngwana wa 12 years a ditse gore sa madi a dingwaga di account ga ke tseng ke batla go itse gore go tsamaya jang for.
Now, has he been convicted already?
Not yet, because lawyer Raga ilitile go convince magistrate gore a fiwa bail because ke khale le mo tronkong magistrate o ganne.
All right, Mararanga, thank you so much. You've noted that, Mr. Tlatwa. Thank you so much for that. We're going to tackle that question quickly. Let's go to George, and we chatted to Christo. Christo, good evening.
Good evening, Karabo, and also to your guest, Mr. Mandla. Thank you very much for this opportunity where we can use this platform to ask the various departments, these questions. However, I have a question. I would like to ask why does offenders very easily get bail, like offenders who maybe, for instance, they murder women, especially children. I don't need to get into the Oscar Pistorius scenario, just to use it as an example. Why does the Department of Prosecution or the Department of Justice allow this still happening? Okay, there is cases where you can see it's not happening, but still there are instances and cases where it still happens. Why doesn't they look into this? My question is, how does the government and the department then protect the communities by doing this? They murder today, just a day or two after they appear in court, then the potential offender, is out on bail. Irrelevant, especially serious crimes. I'm referring just specifically to serious crimes.
Right. Crystal, thank you so much for taking time to call us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, okay, I've been told to hold a little bit. Let's tackle these questions. Let's work our way backwards again. Crystal wants to know, why is it so easy for offenders, especially those committing serious crimes, to get bail? And you've explained earlier on, Jorge, actually this whole bail process, for me, it happens between the arrest and the conviction, so somewhere in between. So we don't know whether a person is guilty or not. And the law says innocent until proven guilty. Okay, but then explain to Christo and some of us who don't, get it quite clearly, why are some of the offenders by long they've committed some serious crimes, but grab bail easily?
I wish to plead with our communities to say, bail, it's not there to punish a person. Like I said when we started, to say bail is there to ensure that the person attends court until the case is finalized. And like you have already indicated, Karabo, to say, a person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Yes, in some instances, people do get bail even if they have committed serious offenses. I'm going to tackle the issue of a 12-year-old child because that is one of the serious offenses. Our offenses are scheduled. They are certain scheduled, less serious, more serious, most serious. For an example, an offense that falls under Schedule 6, it's a very serious offense, that one. So for the accused to get bail there, he must prove that there are exceptional circumstances. In other words, the onus it's on the accused. It is his duty to prove to the court, in other words, adduce evidence to show to the court that there are exceptional circumstances which warrant his release on bail. So, yes, in some instances, it may look like court doesn't care about, the people that have been offended and all of that. But the court is trapped here in a situation where the court must also be mindful of the fact that the accused, at the moment when he appears before the court for bail, court cannot make judgment to say he's guilty, but the court only has to decide, is he a flight risk? Will he be able to come back? I mean, if it happens that he doesn't come back, will he be traceable and all of that? Right now, one of the listeners has said somebody from, what did he say he's from? The one who was raped and then has escaped, has gone back to his country. So those are things that the court has to take into account. So as a result of that, I wouldn't say really the courts do not mind about the people that are offended. The court does mind, but the court should not punish a person before it finds that person guilty.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, Mararanga came in, and that's the one checking on bail application. The person was arrested on the 21st of May 2014, which is last year. It's over a year now. He indicates that the person is still in custody at the moment. He wants to find out bail application. How do they go about? Because here's a guy what could have happened there? What could have happened? Let's paint a picture. Exactly. It's not the absolute but what could have happened in a scenario like that?
What I think happened there, firstly, he said the child that was raped is 12 years old. That's what he said.
Right.
So this offense falls under Schedule 6. Like I said, this is the most serious offense. So it falls under Schedule 6. If this person can be convicted in the High Court, because this is the case, High Court or Regional Court, this person can go to jail for life. The sentence here of its life imprisonment. So what I think happened here, I think bail was had. He did not convince the court that there are exceptional circumstances which warrant his release on bail, and the court then denied bail. I've heard him saying his lawyer kept on trying. I think he did try to bring, because the mere fact that bail has been denied does not mean that you can't try again. If you have new facts, you can bring those facts again. Bring those facts to court and say, now the situation has changed. It has now, I've got now new things which were not there when I asked for bail and bail was denied. Now I've got these new circumstances which I feel would warrant the court to give me bail. Then the court would look into those circumstances also. If the court is satisfied that those circumstances are new and they do warrant that the person be given bail, the court would give bail. But if the court feels that no, those circumstances are not new, they were there but you did not bring them to the attention of the court, so the court cannot take them as new facts. As a result of that, the court is not going to grant bail still.
0800 142 446. Kenanor, before I take those callers, let's answer very quickly question. I've been hanging this question for quite a bit. He wants to know when people are unemployed, and they get arrested, and then can bail be set even though they're unemployed?
Some courts don't set bail at all if one says he cannot afford.
Or he's not working at all.
Or he's not working at all.
Getting
yes,
salary,
he's not working and he can. Some courts don't even bother to fix. But some courts say, you know what, maybe you can get a family member who would organize something for you and give you bail. So the mere fact that a person is not employed is not a passport to him getting free bail, like they call it, like our communities call it, which is warning. So it depends on the type of offense that the person has committed. If it's a serious offense and this person cannot afford bail, it's possible that if the prosecution does not oppose bail, the prosecution can just say they suggest bail and the court can fix that amount. If the person cannot afford, obviously he'll stay in jail until he gets somebody who would pay the bail for him. Or in some instances, if it's not a very serious offense and bail is fixed in the amount of 500 rand and the case is postponed, on the next appearance, if the person appears again, the court would inquire into why didn't you pay bail? Then he might indicate to say, I didn't pay bail because I don't have the money. Then on those circumstances, the court might consider to release this person on warning.
Right. 5 minutes, can you believe it? 5 minutes before 7. Oh my goodness, time flies. Hloka Ina from Bochum. Hloka Ina. Hloka Ina wa Bochum. Thobela re kgopola gore le bolelele nna. Butshwal na re.
Itse ya ka ke gore let's say wa phirile go court la mathomo then o khodise bail. Then wa dira gore ba o find guilty. Then waba o appeal o boela morago go court, then suddenly ba deny bail. Ke putsa wrong because ba ba gona go bona gore a o flying risk like on a fixed address, so ke putsa ro tabo o tlhola keng.
Thank you so much, Hloka Ina. We'll definitely answer your question. Let's go to Samase from Germiston. Samase, Germiston. Fayabundi.
Ninjani baba?
Siyaphila kunjani?
Sikhona. Awuthi ngize kule ndoda yakwamhayisa.
Yebo mfethu.
Na umbuzo. Kwenziwa yini ukuthi mangabe kuthiwa amaphoyisa abamba umuntu nezinto ezintshontshiwe noma nezinto okungamelani ngabe zikuye, athi mangabe fike court kuthiwe kusayocheckwa, kusayo-investigatewa, or kufanele lo muntu athole ummeli ozommela, umelwa ini ngoba vele lezi zinto azintshontshayo, lezi zinto aziphethe akumelanga ukuthi zibe kuye, zi-identifiable ukuthi zibelonga kuphi.
Okay.
Yindaba uMantla angamnikeza into yakhe uprosecutor enze umsebenzi wakhe kuqede, ngoba ngibona ngathi lama case amaningi ahlezi lapha avindela ama serious case whereby anika investigation. Ngathi zonke izinto la South Africa investigators.
Ngiyabonga ke ubaba Samase.
Ngiyamazi ubaba Shamase.
Nyamazi.
Ngiyamazi.
Okay, all right. Let's answer that very quickly.
Ithi ngiqale ngayo leya ka baba Shamase. Baba Shamase, ukuthi amaphoyisa ambamba umuntu red-handed njengoba basho ngesingisi akusho necessarily ukuthi vele nakufikwe court lo muntu uzoconvictwa. Akuvamanga kuba njalo. It does not necessarily mean that when the person is caught committing the offense, then when the case goes to court, the person is going to be convicted. There are procedures that still have to be followed. If those procedures were not properly followed when the person was arrested, then the court may come to a conclusion to say maybe some particular evidence was obtained unconstitutionally. Let's say when the person is caught red-handed, the police assault that person until he confesses. That evidence is not going to be admitted in court. Yes, there are items that are found in his possession, but maybe there are explanations that this person can give. So the court is not just automatically ukuthi icourt izovele ithi hayi utholakele unazo lezi zinto ngaleso sizathu vele
so wena soboshiwe
usuboshiwe
wena soboshiwe
bail angeke silokhu siphenya ngoba utholakele cha umthetho waseNingizimu Afrika like sishilo noma ngabe utholakale uziphethe lezo zinto kodwa uphenyo liyafanele lenzeke mangabe umshushithi usenelisekile ngalo uphenyo icala ke seliyahlethisela ukuthi libuye lizoxoxwa mhla lizoxoxwa ke ofakazi sekuyibe ke kufanele beze bathula ubufakazi uma babuthulela ubufakazi ngendlela emenelisayo umantshi ukuthi beyond reasonable doubt lo muntu ucommitted le offense then icourt izoconvict kodwa uma kube khona ukushayisana kulobufakazi icourt izathi kukhona ukungavumelani kwaufakazi la ngaleso sizathu angikwazi ukumthola lo muntu anecala ngine doubt any benefit ye doubt inikezwa lo muntu lo oboshiwe
so ndogore elohulu swara ka moralo na go ngingirele set okay la swara ka moralo mara they deserve bail as well. Now having used the word deserve, I wonder if I used it correctly. Is bail a constitutional right?
It is a constitutional right to bring application, not to be granted. It is the accused's constitutional right, because an accused cannot just come and appear in court and say, the court looks at him and says, no, I'm not going to allow you to bring an application for bail. No, it is his constitutional right to bring an application for bail. Whether he will get it or not, it's another story.
Okay.
But he cannot be prevented from bringing the application to be released on bail.
All right, 100%. Is it Thobela? Is it Thobela?
Kunenye question la angazi before smove phambili omunye usiso phone ngisazi ufone kuphi ebuza ngokuthi kubangelwa yini ukuthi ubhadale ibail uattend icase utholakale guilty bese soyavalelwa ngamanye agama ibail yakhe siya cancel
uye uThobela ke
uye loyo
yeah
yes ngenkathi umuntu like isishilo ukuthi ipurpose yebail ukuthi umuntu attend icourt uma ngabe attend icourt and icase yafika iyaxoxwa icourt mayithola unecala it is up to the court. The discretion now lies with the court whether to cancel your bail and keep you into custody awaiting sentencing or to extend your bail. It's up to the court.
Right.
I mean, let's take for an example case Mr. Pistorius, Oscar Pistorius. He attended court while he was still outside. Then there was a time when he was convicted. After his conviction, the court felt that he's not a flight risk. The court continued to extend his bail even though he was convicted. So it depends on the nature of the offenses that the person has been convicted of. For an example, with him, he was charged with murder, but he ended up being convicted of culpable homicide.
Correct.
Which is an offense that is not as serious as murder.
Right.
That is why he got the sentence that he got. So he could not have just run away just for being convicted of culpable homicide. So as a result, the reason why the court maybe in the situation where this lady asked cancelled bail, I suppose it is because the court realized that this is a serious offense. This person may not come back because he knows now that he is guilty, and the sentence thereof it's serious. So that could be one of the reasons. But the court has a discretion there after having convicted a person to extend bail or to cancel it.
Sophie in Midrand. Ageko. Sophie Midrand Ageko. Okay, we've got about 7 minutes to go, gentlemen. Before we wrap it up, we can take two more callers quickly. Yeah, we can take two more callers quickly. Sophie, is Sophie there? Sophie ain't there. All right, we're gonna wait for Sophie to come back. 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. Samona akekrese lo ke re lebella mo a gona dilo tsa di Facebook le tweet. Samona, where's the stuff? I don't see them. She's shaking her head today. Okay, no, that's all right. That's all right. You'll get a 2 for that. It's performance appraisal. Musne. I give people 2s, by the way. All right, 2 minutes after 7 o'clock. 0800 142 446 0800 142 446. All right, the bail application period, should it be done by a legal representative, or can one, which is not advisable? I heard a lot of legal practitioners say that. But can I go myself and go present my case and do my own bail application and so forth?
Yeah. Well, you have a right to, the court will explain your right. You have a right to get a lawyer, you have a right to speak on your own. If you don't have money, you can apply to the Legal Aid South Africa. They will grant you a lawyer without having to pay their cent. So it is advisable that you get a lawyer when you apply for bail, because the problem that you're going to run is, let's say you apply on your own and the court denies you bail. Now later on you get a lawyer, you want the lawyer to come and apply for bail on your behalf, and when the lawyer comes, the only reason why the lawyer would be able to apply and maybe get you bail, it's if the lawyer is able to bring new facts. Let's say the lawyer brings those facts and the court says, but those facts were there. Why were they not brought to my attention at the time? You cannot use that as an excuse to say, no, Your Worship, the accused was representing himself. The court explained his rights to get a lawyer. But he was too much in a hurry to do the bail application on its own, and now bail is denied. He will have to get a lawyer, and when the lawyer comes, there are no new facts. He'll have to stay in jail until the matter is finalized, unfortunately. So it is advisable. They are correct to say it is advisable that get a lawyer to assist you when you apply for bail, because if you fail to get bail there, the only way you can get it is either you bring new facts, and if you don't, maybe you appeal, and normally the High Court will look at it and say we agree with the magistrate if really there's nothing that the court would say the magistrate did not do properly in order for him or her to grant you bail,
Masifundeni seyikweleni. We need more people to get into this legal field. All right, let's go to Randfontein and we chat into Gilbert. Gilbert and go fast mabrika. Gilbert.
Ndate.
Legana.
Return guy Papa.
Return. Put how very fast you are last caller.
Yeah, give us a return. We make what case of malicious prosecution. What happened is that there was a minor over the parents' the family reported raid, and I was arrested. After being arrested, I go court. After the magistrate court, the prosecutor. How much case also about there is nothing to prosecute there. But our case was the original. As the originally, unfortunately, the prosecutor on maybe on something Saka. He duty court for 11 months. Prosecutor Sabuinix until the next state about another prosecutor from Joburg after the second case, after this case. So I'm making entirely cost the lawyer to attend the case. So because our malicious prosecution is possible, car case session 6 more. Yeah, revenue into an Arabia minor.
All right. Thank you so much. Gilbert. Let's take Clement from Bushbuck Ridge. Clement is going to be our last callers, guys. We're running into the raid here. Clement, Bushbuck Ridge.
Yes, Mr. Lance.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think I've got a very short question for you and your panel.
Shoot, my brother.
Okay. The question that I want is that you find police arresting people on the street and charging them with public drinking and also with the bail conditions that your panel or the method there has already mentioned. What I want to know is that what is the difference between the money that is being paid for the public drinking and also the bail? Because what I understand is that the public drinking is a criminal charge. Can you please articulate more on that, please?
A difference between public drinking and?
In other words, it says the money that is paid for public. You say the money that is paid for public drinking and bail. That's what you want to know. What's the difference?
Yeah, I just want to know the difference there.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Clement, go push. Linda is going to push 4 hours, Baba. 4 hours. Okay, let's take Mfanelo. Mfanelo on Twitter. Thank you so much for listening in on Twitter. How does, or posting a question rather on Twitter, how does the courts get the amount of the bail? For an example, you hardly get a businessman getting as little as 500 Rand bail. How are bail amounts determined? And we've answered that, but for his sake, we'll definitely do that. Very quickly, let's do that.
Okay. Firstly, let me start with the last one. The difference between money paid, he asks money paid for public drinking and bail. The money that you pay for public drinking, it's a fine.
Okay.
So it's not a bail, it's a fine. You're not gonna get it back.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas with bail, if you are arrested and they say pay 150 Rand bail, you will get that back, whether you are guilty or not guilty. Yeah. Once the case is finalized, you will get it back. So that is the difference. The difference between a fine and bail money is that fine, it's not refundable. Mm-hmm. Bail money is refundable.
Okay.
Right. Then the Randfontein guy who asked about malicious prosecutions, he says he was represented by lawyers. I suppose if there were sufficient grounds for you to institute proceedings or let me say civil actions against the state, your lawyers would have advised you to do so. So there's nothing that prevents you as a South African citizen, if really there are grounds to say you were maliciously prosecuted and you feel that you are aggrieved about it, you want to take the case further, the lawyers will assist you to institute civil proceedings against the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, and then issue why businessmen get little.
Yeah, well, like you said, we already answered that. It depends on the person's personal circumstances. So, I mean, I don't know how much can I stress this? It depends on that particular person's personal circumstances. Like I indicated, a person earning 100,000 rand a month and a person earning 1,000 rand a month. These are two different circumstances. So the court will have to take that into account and fix bail that would be appropriate for the person who earns 1,000 rand a month and the person who earns 100,000 rand a month.
Okay.
Yes.
100%. That's the voice of Advocate Mandla Hlatshwayo coming from the National Prosecuting Authority. Advocate Hlatshwayo, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I've learned quite a lot myself. In fact, kaosane fela ke Kenya resignation ke abalata go justice ra ho kenana pura kana leon. I'll get it. The objection, objection, Joanna. The suspect is not wearing a proper jacket, so we cannot listen to this. You see, we'll formulate something. We'll get there slowly but surely. But thank you so much to Advocate Hlatshwayo. Thank you so much to the team, the video team, the GCIS video team. Thank you so much, guys. You're doing an absolutely amazing job. Simona, thank you so much. I was wondering, Simona, where are the questions coming from Twitter? That's very quiet. I think people sometimes they just enjoy listening and they don't ask questions, but we like to encourage people to really ask questions. Thank you so much to the producers, Gestonito, and that's Mosoto Stone on telephones, as well as Linda Mazibugo, somebody who Okasamukre in the building, Mr. Hlatshwayo. He's here. But you won't find him.
He's here, but he's not here.
He's here, but he's not here. I mean, every day I hear the supervisors, oh, Pulinda. Konamanja, I mean, we've put in an application and a memo to get a human tracker. Simfaki tracker. This guy cannot be found anywhere in the building. But come this show, he's very diligent. He's there. He makes sure that everything is done. Thank you so much, Malins, and thank you so much to the guys, Bako, Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. 2 shows down the line. Let this petty boy go home and go eat some pap or something. Let's meet again next time. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.